Okay, I've got a few minutes and I think I can do the short format to today's long format video. Today's video is for the fathers, uncles, brothers, how you can help the young women in your life or the women in your life just become more assertive. But today I'm really going to speak to the fathers because it's such an important message. I am the woman I am because I had an active father, okay? I'll say it again. Sometimes mothers subscribe to the patriarchy because it was all they were taught. Nobody really listened to them. No one really thought they were valuable. And it's kind of hard sometimes to teach yourself that lesson. But if you want to know how to be free, really looking at how men live a very free life is the way to go. So here are just some tips that some things my dad did when I was growing up that let me know that I mattered and I'm important. Number one, I'm his firstborn and I'm a girl. He never wished I was a boy. Number two, I didn't speak often when I was young, but when I did, I often said some earth-shattering truth. This is what my mom always says. And it's funny because as I got older, I got more talkative. One of the number one things is if I'm in a room full of people or we're having a family meeting or something and I have something to say, even if someone wants to tell me to be quiet or shut up, if my father is in that room, they're going to have to let me finish my sentence. Okay? There was no shutting me up if daddy's in the room. He wanted to hear what I had to say. He thought my opinions were valid. My feelings were valid. If my father is in the room, you cannot tell me to shut up. Try it, okay? Daddy's a street guy, okay? He's a street guy, so he's not having it. He is not having it. If his little girl has an opinion, then he wants to hear what that opinion is, and you're going to hear it too. So even if I was 5 years old and I sang the ABCs a couple of times, and you were getting tired of hearing it. If daddy's in the room, then here goes times 60th, and you better clap at the end like I'm the best thing ever. That may sound like some spoiled shit, but what it really taught me is, as a young girl, my opinions, my feelings, they matter. And my father is this giant in the room, and the giant says, speak. Let me know what you're thinking. Don't be afraid. And my dad used to always say that, like, he will always protect me in public, even if I am wrong. But at home, I'll get in trouble. So never be afraid to come to him. And this was important because, you know, for the first couple years of my life, I was like a latchkey kid. And so, you need to know these. Daddy was teaching me like survival skills, right? He also, as we were growing up, the rules were the same for the boys and the girls. My parents did not want to become young grandparents, and they were not. There was no boys will be boys, wink, wink club. That did not exist, okay? Daddy wanted responsible boys that if they were to become fathers, they understand that my parents are not raising boys that don't take care of their children, okay? So the rules were the same. The girls we were all allowed to date, but for the girl, we didn't call it dating. Even my brothers, we didn't call it dating, okay? It was more like there's a young man that is going to go with me to my formal or is going to take me to the movies. My mom and my dad had to know his family. I only had 2 boyfriends in high school, so they had to know their families. Daddy knew where everybody lived, and he could get there within 30 minutes or less. You know, from Jersey to the Bronx, okay? Daddy just didn't play that. He needed to know. And so I never called a guy my boyfriend. I always called them my friend, because the way I grew up, there was like friend and husband, right? And I don't have a husband. So even to this day, if I'm talking to daddy, I'm talking to daddy about my friend, okay? And so my friend could take me to the movies. I had a curfew. There were certain systems in place. A lot of times I had to bring my siblings, my cousins. So I'm going on a date, maybe 7 kids deep. But my high school sweetheart, he also had to bring his cousins with him. So our families were very aligned on how dating took place. But it wasn't one of those things that you could not date. I have a theory that if you date under the eyes of your parents, especially a caring father, that sets the tone for how a young man should treat you. And it also sets the tone that you learn certain dating rules while it's okay to talk about it. As we're talking about dating and I got older, Daddy always had this thing where he always said to me, like, remember, I don't make the rules. The world is harder on women. So don't do anything with any boy or man that you don't want to, that is not your idea, okay? So if I didn't want to go on a date with somebody, Daddy says, come on, you don't have to do that. If I don't even, when I became a grown adult, if I don't want to be intimate with someone, I don't have to be. Daddy says it should be my idea, because when those consequences come, I'm going to pay more than the boy, okay? So it wasn't that Daddy forgot I was a girl, okay? He actually used the fact that I was a girl to make me smarter than the average bear, is what Daddy did. He didn't use it as a weakness. He used it as a strength. And if you look at history, some of the best female assassins in history, okay, exist. And why? Because they were probably seen as weak, Okay, so those were some of the tips. We could date, but we had certain rules. The lines of communication was open with Daddy. You could ask him any kind of question and he would be there. I think these are some of the things that will help young girls, come into themselves and learn to be the main characters in their own lives, because you, the caring father, you are there to cheer them on. I am limitless because of my father. I said it again. Nobody else knows how to be free like a man. And that's how I learned to be my authentic self. All right, this is longer than I wanted it to be. I gotta go. It's KJM and I'm out.